As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
When C.K. Little opened his doors in downtown Corinth nearly 80 years ago, his plan was simple: deliver excellent service and exceed expectations. That's why we say a little gift goes a long way.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Welcome to Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon, taking a little walk in the woods today on what has been a beautiful and fairly warm late winter day. Hopefully you found a way to get outside and enjoy whatever it is that Mother Nature has for you. Certainly the next couple of days, I think we'll have some decent weather for that, but we are eventually looking towards some rain and storm chances later this week, and could be eventually talking about possibly some stronger thunderstorms for some locations as we go toward this upcoming weekend. So milder temperatures are going to stick around, arguably warm and certainly above normal for this time of the year. Skies are going to remain mostly dry, conditions mostly dry until really later this week, as we're just far enough east to avoid the most significant weather with this next impending storm system. But storms are back by the weekend, and we do anticipate that some could be strong to severe nearby, potentially for us as well. But over the course of the next 12 hours, as you can see, that is a non-factor for us as we are clear and dry. I say clear, still some high thin clouds, but no meaningful precipitation coming from those. Our winds out of the south about 5 miles per hour to maybe 10 miles per hour or so, with temperatures dropping into the upper 50s by early tomorrow morning. Outside, our cameras here across North Mississippi this evening showing up with a lot of sunshine. We're looking mostly clear there in the Oxford area, coming in 79 degrees as of this hour. Is that sun there getting a little bit closer to the horizon? And again, only a few thin cirrus clouds up there above that at this point in time. Same shot there again in Tupelo. Again, appreciate Mitchell Cunningham Bowling for sponsoring our Tupelo Tower Cam. Winds have been breezy, dew points low enough that still some elevated fire danger out there. I know it's that time of year where a lot of burning gets done, but luckily not looking at any out of control smoke plumes or anything like that in the Tupelo area at this time. As we talked about last couple of days, those burn bands have expanded some. In Smithville, we're 74 degrees, winds south at 15 miles per hour, gusts a little higher than that. Certainly the birds flying by pretty quickly on that camera lens just a moment ago there at this moment. So again, looking at temperatures around the region, they tend to be above, again, the low 60s. We typically should be up there all the way to 83 degrees in Greenwood, coming in 83 Belzona versus the 74 in Tupelo, 80 in Bruce. So certainly south and west of Oxford at that 79 there, 80 degrees in Water Valley, where temperatures are the warmest this afternoon on some of those southwesterly sort of winds. Here's a look at Mama Justice Doppler radar. We don't really have any sort of precipitation over top of us. This stalled front to the north of us, that is the boundary that'll kind of be the interaction point for showers and thunderstorms the next couple of days. We'll look at the severe weather risks for the remainder of this week, and while we don't have one, they do get fairly close. We'll time out when we could be looking more at that potential if something were to shift a little bit. Come up here in a couple minutes, but some wintry precipitation up there toward Massachusetts and New Hampshire and the far northeastern United States. We've got to go way west to start some of the ways of energy. Try to bring us a slightly better chance for a little bit of as those get slightly closer. By the way, I see my shot locking up a little bit, so I'm going to, anytime you're dealing with cell service, you know how that goes here, especially when you're out and about. Sometimes that's the reason we like to go out in the woods, is because that can be a little dodgy from time to time, but no precipitation to really cause any sort of issues there. And we remain, again, mostly dry here. One thing I should note is that you always want to make sure that we're looking up this time of year or any time of the year into the forest, but especially considering where we have been with the ice storm we recently had. There are going to be a lot of dangling branches up there. I was very cautious on my path that I looked up before we came on camera just to make sure, but keep that in mind for both yourselves, for the kiddos, as we go into this next few months, because wind gusts are going to knock some of those dangling branches down. And even though I did check with one of those stronger wind gusts, I figured it was probably a good time to double check as well. But no precipitation out there on Mama Justice Doppler radar, just a few high thin clouds. So futurecast keeping us again dry and mostly clear as you head into this evening. Those winds out of the south are beginning to bring up a little bit in the way of that cloud cover. You can see a few little blips of green down there into central and south Mississippi, well to the south of us, closer there to Hattiesburg, locations of that direction, where there's a little bit of active weather, but even then, most of those spots, it's not really much showing up there. So as we head throughout the overnight period here, we're looking past midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, that cloud cover getting a little bit thicker. And so with still some widespread cloud cover around, it's not impossible to get a little bit of drizzle out there for early morning on your Wednesday. We're looking at 7 a.m. there. I think that's what this green is depicting there. Some lower level moisture starting to return, starting to set the stage for a much more active pattern. You don't have to go that far back to the west for this to be a really active pattern the next couple of days. As you can see, that storm system out there toward the four corners there of Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. That will be a spot that has a lot of storm chances this week. For us, that very minimal chance for a few little sprinkles. Temperatures go from 58, still way above our normal for the low temperature this time of year, and only a few degrees off where we should be for a high. That's where we start. We'll be 75 by noon and 80s we head toward afternoon with limited chances for rainfall late in the day. Most of us are probably going to stay fairly dry. Hey, coming up here in 60 seconds, we're going to have your SEC baseball forecast. A couple of games going on tonight as far as that's concerned. We're also going to look at the severe risk for all week long as chances get somewhat close. We'll talk about kind of how we're blocked out of this to a certain extent, and we will look ahead at our next chances for more significant thunderstorms as Mississippi Live Weather continues here in 60 seconds from the mobile room-to-room weather center.
As we move into storm season, here's something most homeowners don't realize after a storm. Roof damage isn't always obvious. Wind can lift shingles, breaking the seal. Hail can bruise them below, and flashing around chimneys and pipes can loosen without you ever knowing. That damage may not show up for months. If your area has strong wind or hail, a professional inspection will help bring you clarity before small damage turns into bigger problems.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpond here from the woods, just trying to enjoy a nice, beautiful, warm day. As we talked about before the commercial break, and the conversations that I've had with my kids, you need to have with yours, comes back to this. With the potential for some trees that, had some issues with this recent ice storm. There's going to be a lot of branches and stuff still dangling from the trees. Where I'm at here, I don't have many, but I think over my shoulder there, you can see one of the trees, maybe there in the distance, that was knocked down by the ice storm. I know there's been a lot that have kind of been the case from time to time, so we need to have those conversations with our kids, to be thinking and preparing accordingly for the fact that when we have some windier conditions, some of those are going to drop as we go into this season. By the way, my dog, old Duke, has decided to come out and join me here in the woods this evening. So perfect weather for that is for sure. Temperatures at this time are coming in around 74 degrees. Dew point at 58. Just honestly, really, really beautiful weather for this time of the year as our winds remain out of kind of a southerly direction, about 50 miles per hour or so. So let's baseball forecast here. In just a moment, looks like I might have, there we go. You know how that goes. As I mentioned before the break, you go to the woods to try to stay away from it. Apparently my signal's going to go in and out. That's fine. Hey, but you can see back to the north and west of us, that severe weather threat, this is for today. That is out there on the plains. Notice that does become more elevated as we head to a level 2 out of 5 risk for much of Arkansas there, Missouri, back out into Texas and Oklahoma. But it stays just the littlest bit to our north and west. So a non-factor for us here in Mississippi as storms just won't get down this far to the south. We have no risk that is close to us as we head into your Thursday there, but back out Texas, Oklahoma, western central Kansas, their pattern getting more active, and that kind of recharged portion of the storm system. As that moves in, that will bring a more significant threat, we think, by Friday. Now, notice here, we do not show a level 1 threat for Friday. Only the first 3 days, today, tomorrow, and the next day, do we have level 1 risks that the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma puts out. By the time you go beyond that, it starts at level 2 risk. So we go to level 2, level 3. So it's possible that as we go toward Friday, we could be on the eastern fringe of one of those level 1 risks, especially for early Saturday morning there. And then as we head into your Saturday, notice again, no official severe weather risk. I put a big question mark because that storm system will move more toward us. It'll still probably upper level support to work with, and so it's still possible we could be talking about a severe weather risk by then. So while I put a question mark there on the graphic, I think it's reasonable that we'll probably have at least some stronger thunderstorms for some spots as we go into this upcoming weekend. So this evening, though, no issues there. Some excellent baseball weather. Again, Ole Miss taking on Memphis there. First pitch at 6:30. And expected to be just an absolutely spectacular evening for baseball. Winds a little breezy, okay, yes, but I mean, come on, final pitch weather, look at a 66. That is about as good as we could ever expect this early in March. We know just how erratic the forecast can be here. Hattiesburg there, first pitch there is against Southern Miss. Expecting that one to be a pretty nice one. 73 degrees there at 6 o'clock first pitch. We're going 68 by fourth inning and 65 by the conclusion. Still pretty mild. And again, beautiful weather for that game. Mama Justice Doppler radar, no precipitation out there. Not nearly as many smoke plumes as what we've had the last couple of days, thankfully. I mean, maybe the wind. Hopefully folks are being smart because we talk over and over again. It's, it's taking, debris. And in this case, I'll show you a little tree debris we have, on the ground. If I can get it pointed the right direction there. Yeah, you can kind of see some of those branches and stuff that we have there that we just have kind of piled up here. It's burning that debris after the ice storm. It's going to cause some issues with controlled burns becoming uncontrolled. So the wildfire folks, the Mississippi Forestry Commission, just warning you to be safe as far as that is concerned. Temperatures, 74 right now in Tupelo, 78 in the Eupora area, coming in 77 Starkville and 78 degrees down in Columbus, with 77 in Greenville and 79. So future cast, a couple of clouds out there, but again, these are high, these are thin. There's no precipitation, really associated with any of these as we head into night, as those southerly winds kind of keep the milder temperatures in play and keep those temperatures from dropping maybe as swiftly as they could. That will be a little chill to them related to that early in the morning on your Wednesday. But as you can see, starting off with widespread clouds and the little blips of green we have, arguably maybe just a little bit of drizzles. About 59 degrees, that low temperature, Tupelo and Amory, 58 in Columbus. It'll be 60 in Louisville and for Kosciuszko, and still up to 62 there in Senatobia, where our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be tracking the latest on your forecast. Pick up temperature there at 59 to start the day on your Wednesday there. I'm already thinking towards Saturday. That's our storm chances. And again, we'll look at that in a minute, but we're 80 degrees for that drop-off temperature. Again, appreciate IMPC on that school bus forecast. Maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, just not really going to add up to much in the rain gauge there. It's just a sign that, hey, there's moisture on these southerly winds starting to return, starting to eventually try to prime the atmosphere. And while we're 75 degrees by noontime, and again, we're not going to see much in the way of precipitation, all of the moisture from this is largely being funneled back to where the storm system's more effective, back out there where that severe weather risk is in place, back into Arkansas, back out there toward Kansas and locations back that direction there. One or two little showers, somewhat heavier. We show at 6 p.m. closer to Belzona, but that is about the only time period we have that show up on there. So we're not expecting a whole lot there. But make sure to have that Mississippi Live weather app ready and available. It'll help you track those showers as necessary. So 81 degrees, that temperature in Houston for the high tomorrow, 82 degrees in Starkville, 80 in Tupelo, 79 Boonville, Corinth, and Iuka at 78, and 81 in Grenada and Greenwood. So we show the lightest chance of maybe a couple isolated showers for a very brief time late tomorrow afternoon. As we head into your Wednesday evening, we're looking at 10, 11 o'clock to midnight. Still some isolated showers showing up out there, gradually kind of moving from the southwest toward the northeast, but still we're ahead of anything more significant, with low 60s out there to begin the first part of early morning Thursday. Off around 68 degrees. I expect temperatures will probably be pushing there somewhere in the, again, 60s to begin the day. Gabe, if you'll give me a space bar there for a moment, as you can see my connection going in and out on my tablet there. We'll show that beginning temperature on. It starts off somewhere in the neighborhood of the upper 60s. Will be 78 by midday, and then lower 80s out there for afternoon on your Thursday there, under, again, mostly dry conditions. We're still just kind of ahead of that next more significant storm system with 71 by around 6 p.m. there. As we head into your late evening hours, early Friday morning, again, dry to start Friday. On southeast winds continue to bring up a lot of that lower level moisture. It'll be more sticky on Friday. Again, when you start in the low 60s, you can tell that. Mid 70s as we head toward Friday, midday. Southerly winds continue to be fairly breezy for some of those SEC baseball games on Friday, possibly 71 degrees for about 6 p.m. Friday. And hopefully trying to keep things dry for our Mississippi Live Game of the Week. Again, going to baseball, and you can vote on where we're heading there for our Mississippi Live Game of the Week presented by Casey Lott. Through this evening, we'll get that final vote. I think at 10 o'clock we'll be able to, tally that there and then have that for tomorrow. Woo, my hair blowing around a little bit. So a little bit of a wind gust there from time to time. Can I even figure out what direction my hair is supposed to go? Anyway, dry there as we head toward 11 p.m., toward around midnight for late Friday night and early Saturday. Now notice, look closely back there toward Horn Lake. We show the first sign of a few storms trying to roll in from the north and west for the pre-dawn hours of early Saturday, and then a line of thunderstorms there Saturday morning along this front. Now notice how they really try to hug right along that front there. The thinking is that most of the storms are going to be heaviest, again, along the front with maybe some strong gusty winds a possibility. This is not a particularly impressive chance for anything beyond that. But with as potent as the storm system is, it's a little too early to rule out a tornado chance on it. But I would say that probably heavy rainfall and sub-severe wind gusts are the most likely out of this. We show 61 there by around noontime. And again, the winds north and west behind this do have some cooler air as those thunderstorms kind of spread through. But as we showed you a minute ago, no official severe weather risk for Saturday yet. But we are still a long ways out, and a ton will change on this storm system as we get closer. So 58, your starting temperature on your Wednesday. We're going 75 degrees by noontime, 80 the high temperature, with temperatures kind of peaking up to around 78, we'll still say at 5 p.m. there, and diminishing a little bit more as we progress into the evening. The remainder of that 7 days, and we're 81 degrees by Thursday and Friday, 79 as we head towards Saturday, and probably, again, those showers fairly widespread on Saturday. We do expect that the system doesn't completely clear out moisture. Look at those low temperatures. The fact that they're still going to be somewhere around low 60s into the first energy, we still have plenty of moisture around, and that means I expect there's going to be multiple chances to have rain showers, thunderstorms, and maybe even stronger thunderstorms in the next couple of weeks. The pattern, and that should shock precisely zero of you, considering our most active time of the year for severe weather typically is March and April, and now we're in March rolling through, and so by that point we'll kind of be mid-March, and so we're looking like what we typically see with more active and possibly severe weather in the extended forecast there. So that is the trend. Certainly fine when it's like this. Certainly it is pretty to stay warm and dry next couple of days. I know there's going to be a tendency to kind of burn some of the leaves, and I know that's something that people have to get out and, try to do some of that. But just be cautious considering the elevated fire danger and greater number of people being added to burn bans. I wasn't planning on showing them, but my kids on the swings out front at our house here, as I kind of walked up there. My son has a soccer game, so I'm going to be out there live during our 6 o'clock broadcast, which is our next live broadcast we'll have here on Mississippi Live Weather to kind of check that out. They joke that the soccer fields at Ballard Park and Tupelo are the coldest. Well, today it's been fairly warm, so hopefully they won't be too terribly frigid. Forecast from there. Our meteorologist Gabe Mainers will be back in the studio in downtown. Some of the components go into place for that severe weather threat this weekend. Part of the reason why we're still inconsistent on how we're feeling about that, and an update on burn bans and things of that nature. That's all coming up Mississippi Live Weather Center. We'll see you then.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.